In the glittering world of fame and fortune, where every moment is captured and every word is analyzed, there exists a truth that no amount of money or influence can erase. The camera never blinks, it never forgets. And sometimes, it captures the very moments that celebrities wish would disappear forever. This is the story of those moments. The awkward encounters, the savage comebacks, the uncomfortable truths, and the hilarious mishaps that remind us that behind the perfectly crafted images, celebrities are still human. Sometimes painfully, embarrassingly human. Welcome to a journey through the most cringe-worthy, laugh-inducing, and unforgettable moments caught on camera. Moments that made the world stop and stare. Moments that broke the internet. Moments that changed careers. And moments that, despite every attempt to move past them, live on forever in the digital age. When nostalgia becomes awkward, the red carpet has always been a stage where perfection is expected. But sometimes, the past has a way of creeping into the present, and when it does, the results can be unexpectedly awkward. Zendaya, the multi-talented actress who rose to fame through Disney Channel, found herself face to face with her younger self during one such moment. When asked the age-old question about whether blondies have more fun, something inside her clicked. Without missing a beat, her Disney persona emerged, complete with the accent and mannerisms of her childhood character. The iconic soundbite that followed became an instant sensation. Blondies have more fun. We're about to find out, honey. We just got started, so I'll let you know. The entertainment world erupted with nostalgia. Fans who had grown up watching her transformation from Disney starlet to Hollywood powerhouse were reminded of where she came from. But there was something deeper in that moment. A vulnerability, perhaps even a slight embarrassment at having her past so publicly resurrected. The awkwardness wasn't in what she said, but in the realization that no matter how far she climbed, those old roots would always be part of her story. Awards shows, too, have become breeding grounds for these uncomfortable television moments. During the Golden Globes, Jennifer Lawrence sat in the audience with the weight of expectation on her shoulders. The cameras loved her. The world loved her. But in that particular moment, she wasn't feeling the love. Lip readers across the internet would later decode her silent message to those around her. If she didn't win, she was leaving. The brutal honesty was refreshing in its own way. When the award went to someone else, her expression of relief was almost more genuine than any acceptance speech could have been. She was free to leave, and the cameras captured every moment of that liberation. Family feuds in the public eye behind closed doors. Families argue. But when your family happens to be one of the most famous in the world, those arguments become entertainment for millions. The Kardashian family has built an empire on their willingness to share their lives. But sometimes that sharing includes moments they might prefer to keep private. Kourtney Kardashian had always been the most private of the sisters, the one who pushed back against the constant filming and publicity. So when she took an unscheduled day off from work, it sent ripples through the family business. Kim Kardashian, ever the businesswoman, stepped in to fill her sister's role. But it was Kim's best friend at the time, Jonathan Cheban, who took it upon himself to address the situation directly with Kourtney. The confrontation that followed was raw and unfiltered. "You'd be nothing," Jonathan declared, his voice rising with frustration. "All you'd be doing is chasing Scott at nightclubs every night. I don't know who told you that you're the queen of this castle, that you don't need to work, because you do." The words hung in the air like smoke after a fire. Kourtney, never one to back down, responded with a question that cut even deeper. "Why don't you leave? Don't you have your own thoughts? He's never going to marry you." The personal attack shifted the argument into dangerous territory. What had started as a discussion about work ethic became something far more intimate and cruel. The moment ended with Kourtney giving Jonathan a light slap, a physical manifestation of the emotional boundary he had crossed. Viewers were divided. Some felt Jonathan was right to call out Kourtney's behavior. Others felt he had gone too far, inserting himself into family business that wasn't his concern. But everyone agreed on one thing: they had just witnessed something real, something unscripted, something that revealed the fault lines beneath the glamorous surface. The chemistry that wasn't supposed to happen in Hollywood, chemistry between co-stars, is manufactured, rehearsed, and carefully choreographed. Directors spend countless hours trying to create that perfect spark between actors. But sometimes, chemistry happens naturally, unexpectedly, and in ways that weren't planned. Chris Evans, the all-American hero known for playing Captain America, found himself completely captivated during a press interview with Ana de Armas. She was speaking Portuguese, her native language flowing effortlessly. Chris, who didn't understand a word, was mesmerized. His face said everything his words couldn't. When asked what she had said, Ana laughed and admitted she didn't even know. She had just been speaking in Portuguese. But Chris's response was immediate and honest. "I don't know what it is, but it sounds good. I don't know, but I love it." The moment went viral instantly. Fans shipped them. Tabloids speculated. Social media erupted. But more than anything, it reminded everyone that genuine attraction and chemistry can't be faked. It was a brief, honest moment where the Hollywood facade dropped, and two people simply enjoyed each other's presence. The cameras captured it all, and the internet never let them forget it. When live television goes wrong, live television is a high-wire act without a safety net. Producers can filter questions, screen audience members, and plan every detail, but they can't control everything. And when things go wrong, they go spectacularly wrong. During a live show, Kim Kardashian sat on stage, prepared for the usual questions about her business ventures, her family, and her latest projects. The production team had screened the audience member who was about to ask a question. Everything seemed routine. But when the microphone was handed over, the question that came out was nothing like what had been approved. "Hi Kim, why do you look half your age on Instagram, but twice your age on TV?" The studio fell silent. Kim's face froze. The host scrambled to recover, stammering that this wasn't the question that was supposed to be asked. But the damage was done. The question had been asked. The internet had heard it. And despite the host's attempts at damage control, that moment would be replayed millions of times across social media platforms. It raised uncomfortable questions about celebrity culture, about the disconnect between social media and reality, about the pressures of maintaining a perfect image. Kim handled it with grace, but the discomfort in her eyes was unmistakable. This was a moment she couldn't control, couldn't edit, couldn't delete. The rejection heard around the world. In the world of celebrity interactions, social norms still apply. Or do they? Tom Holland, the charming actor who brought Spider-Man to life for a new generation, learned this lesson the hard way when he attempted a gentlemanly gesture with his co-star Zendaya. He extended his hand, a simple offer of assistance or greeting. But Zendaya, whether intentionally or instinctively, rejected it completely. The cameras caught every moment of Tom's confusion and slight embarrassment as his hand hung in the air, unacknowledged. Fans dissected the moment endlessly. Was it intentional? Was it a joke between friends? Was there underlying tension? The truth, as is often the case with these viral moments, was probably far simpler than any conspiracy theory. But in that brief second, millions of people witnessed a rejection, and Tom Holland had to live with the knowledge that this awkward moment would follow him forever. Legends caught in candid moments. Even legends have moments that don't go according to plan. During the recording of We Are the World, one of the most ambitious musical collaborations in history, cameras captured everything. Michael Jackson, the king of pop himself, delivered his vocals with effortless precision. His voice soared through the studio, perfect and powerful. But when other performers took their turns, not everyone could match that standard. The behind-the-scenes footage shows Michael's reaction, a subtle but unmistakable expression of disbelief at some of the vocal performances he was hearing. In the background, Daryl Hall can be seen holding his ears, his face contorted in what could only be described as musical pain. The moment was hilarious in its honesty. These were professionals, legends in their own right. But even they couldn't hide their reactions to performances that weren't quite hitting the mark. The fails that became folklore. Some moments transcend awkwardness and enter the realm of pure entertainment. On Love and Hip Hop, rapper Safaree managed to achieve the impossible. During a heated argument, he grabbed a chair, and attempted to throw it forward at his opponent. Physics, however, had other plans. Through a combination of poor grip, bad angle, and pure bad luck, the chair somehow flew forward but then curved back, striking Safaree directly in the back of his own head. The studio erupted. Viewers couldn't believe what they had just witnessed. It was the kind of moment that shouldn't be possible, yet there it was, captured on camera for eternity. Nicki Minaj, one of the biggest names in music, experienced her own viral fail during a concert. She had built a reputation for incredible performances and had one of the most dedicated fan bases in the world. So when she handed her microphone to a fan during a show, she expected magic. What she got instead was a vocal performance so off-key, so painful to hear, that even the bass player reportedly had to stop playing. The cameras captured Nicki's face, a mixture of regret, amusement, and horror as she realized she had made a terrible mistake. The fan, undoubtedly thrilled to be on stage, had no idea that their moment of glory would become a cautionary tale about why not everyone should sing in public. Confessions Too Honest for Comfort. Billie Eilish has built her career on being unapologetically herself. She doesn't hide behind a polished image or carefully crafted persona. But during a game where participants have to tell stories and others guess if they're lying, even Billie's fans weren't prepared for what she would reveal. The story involved flatulence, a friend's unfortunate timing with a yawn, and a result that was as disgusting as it was hilarious. When the truth was revealed that yes, this actually happened, the studio erupted in a combination of laughter and disbelief. It was the kind of confession that most people would take to their graves, but Billie shared it with the world without hesitation. In that moment, she reminded everyone that celebrities, no matter how famous, are capable of the same gross, embarrassing, human moments as everyone else. Inappropriate behavior exposed. Not all awkward moments are funny. Some cross lines that should never be crossed. During an appearance on a talk show, X Factor judge Walsh was caught on camera touching Mel B inappropriately. The footage is uncomfortable to watch. Lewis's hands wandering where they shouldn't, Mel B's visible discomfort, and the other people on the couch nervously laughing, as if trying to defuse the situation. What made it worse was that Lewis did it again, even after the initial incident. Mel B, maintaining her composure despite the violation, finally told him to stop. The incident sparked important conversations about consent, about power dynamics in entertainment, and about the behaviors that had been normalized for too long in the industry. It was a moment that couldn't be laughed off or ignored, a reminder that not all celebrity interactions are harmless fun. Some are violations that get captured on camera, serving as evidence of behaviors that must change. When hosts cross the line, the relationship between talk show hosts and their celebrity guests is built on an unspoken contract, a delicate balance of entertainment, promotion, and mutual respect. The host provides a platform, the guest provides content, and together they create a moment of television magic. But sometimes that contract is broken. Sometimes hosts forget that the person sitting across from them isn't just content to be exploited for laughs. They're human beings deserving of dignity, regardless of how bright the studio lights shine or how loud the audience applause echoes. Sofia Vergara, the Colombian-American actress who became a household name through her role in Modern Family, has spent years navigating Hollywood as a non-native English speaker. Her accent, which she's never tried to hide or diminish, has become part of her trademark, a reflection of her heritage and identity. But during an appearance on The Ellen DeGeneres Show, that accent became the source of what can only be described as persistent microaggressions dressed up as comedy. The pattern repeated itself throughout the interview with uncomfortable regularity. Sofia would begin to tell a story, her natural enthusiasm and animated personality shining through as she spoke. "You say a tourist trip, and we went to the Chinatown," she would start, her words clear and understandable to anyone actually listening. But Ellen, rather than engaging with the content of what Sofia was saying, would interrupt with an exaggerated expression of confusion. Her face would contort as if Sofia were speaking an entirely foreign language, as if the accent somehow rendered the English words incomprehensible. At first, Sofia laughed it off, as so many guests do when faced with uncomfortable moments on live television. But the pattern continued. Again and again, Ellen's confused face appeared, turning Sofia's stories into jokes about her accent rather than engaging with what she was actually trying to communicate. The microaggression was subtle enough that some viewers might not have even noticed it consciously, but persistent enough that its impact was unmistakable. Finally, Sofia had enough. In a moment of genuine frustration that cut through the manufactured cheerfulness of daytime television, she addressed the elephant in the room directly. "Why you look at me like you don't understand?" she asked, her voice carrying the weight of every time she'd been made to feel less than because of how she spoke English. Ellen's response was dismissive, brushing past the valid concerns Sofia had raised. But Sofia had made her point, and more importantly, she had made it on camera for millions of viewers to witness. The moment sparked important conversations about representation, about how non-native English speakers are treated in American media, and about the casual ways that accents are turned into comedic material. It highlighted how someone's different way of speaking the same language is often treated as inherently funny rather than simply different. A form of othering that happens so frequently, it's become normalized. For Sofia, and for countless others who speak English with an accent, these moments are a regular occurrence. They're death by 1,000 cuts. Small moments of being made to feel foreign in a country they've made their home, of having their intelligence questioned because of how they pronounce words, of being turned into punchlines rather than being heard. The awkwardness wasn't just uncomfortable television. It was a reality check for viewers who hadn't considered how such treatment might feel when you're on the receiving end. But not all awkward celebrity moments stem from hosts overstepping boundaries. Sometimes, the most memorable moments come from celebrities who know exactly how to defend themselves, who possess the rare ability to shut down an insult with grace, wit, and perfect timing. In the world of celebrity, the savage comeback has become an art form unto itself. It requires intelligence, confidence, and the ability to think on your feet while cameras capture every microsecond of your reaction. And perhaps no one understood this better than Gordon Ramsay, the celebrity chef whose career has been built on his ability to deliver cutting insults with surgical precision. So when James Corden, the affable late-night host, decided to take a shot at Gordon during an interview, he was playing a dangerous game. Corden, known for his comedic timing and celebrity roasts, attempted what he probably thought would be a harmless jab. With a smug smile spreading across his face, he delivered his line, "I've eaten worse. I've eaten in a couple of your places." The studio audience gasped. This was a direct attack on Gordon's professional reputation, his restaurants, his culinary skills, his life's work. Everyone who knew anything about Gordon Ramsay knew what was coming next. He was the master of kitchen insults, the man who had reduced countless chefs to tears with his brutal honesty and creative profanity. The audience waited for the explosion, for the volcanic eruption of rage that Gordon was famous for delivering. But it never came. Instead, Gordon simply smiled, not a fake television smile, but a genuine expression of complete indifference. He continued eating whatever was in front of him, as if Corden's comment wasn't even worth the energy it would take to respond. The silence spoke volumes. By not taking the bait, by refusing to engage with the provocation, Gordon delivered a comeback more devastating than any clever insult could have been. It was a masterclass in power dynamics. Gordon's non-reaction communicated something profound. He was so secure in his success, so confident in his achievements, so unbothered by the opinion of someone who clearly knew nothing about fine dining, that the insult didn't even register as worthy of acknowledgement. The message was clear. You're not even on my level enough for me to be offended by you. The audience understood immediately. The laughter that followed wasn't at Gordon's expense. It was at Corden's. In attempting to roast the chef, Corden had instead roasted himself, revealing the gulf between someone who talks about food on television and someone who has spent decades mastering the culinary arts at the highest level. These two moments, Sofia's confrontation and Gordon's silence, represent opposite approaches to handling disrespect on camera, yet both were equally effective. Sofia chose to name the problem directly, forcing everyone to acknowledge the pattern of behavior that had been happening. Corden chose to demonstrate his superiority through indifference, showing that sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Together, they remind us that celebrities, despite their fame and fortune, still have to navigate the same social dynamics as everyone else. They just have to do it while the whole world watches. Cultural misunderstandings, celebrity interviews, often involve participants from different cultures, and sometimes those cultural differences lead to genuinely awkward moments. When Jimmy Kimmel invited Rihanna on his show, he had what he thought was a brilliant idea for a segment. April is Autism Awareness Month, and Jimmy, in his infinite wisdom, decided the best way to promote awareness was to recreate a scene from a popular movie. He proposed putting food in his mouth while Rihanna watched, the scene from a romantic drama. As if this somehow related to autism awareness, Rihanna's expression said everything. Confusion, disbelief, and a clear, "What are you talking about?" crossed her face. The segment proceeded, but the awkwardness was palpable. It was one of those moments where a host's idea seemed good on paper, but in execution revealed itself to be bizarre, uncomfortable, and completely inappropriate. The connection between the movie scene and autism awareness was never made clear, leaving viewers as confused as Rihanna appeared to be. Neighborhood encounters. The Kardashian family has provided endless content over the years, but one of the most cringe-inducing moments came when Kris Jenner decided to meet her neighbors. The footage shows Kris attempting to be cool and relatable as she approaches a neighbor on the street. What followed was a masterclass in secondhand embarrassment. "What's up? My name is Realist. I stay right up the street, and I heard my homegirl Kay stays here," the neighbor said in greeting. Kris, attempting to match the energy, responded with what can only be described as an attempt at street slang. "Oh, well, welcome to the hood." The forced nature of the interaction, the obvious discomfort of everyone involved, and Kris's attempt to be something she clearly wasn't combined to create a moment that was both funny and deeply awkward. It was a reminder that authenticity matters, and that trying too hard to fit in often has the opposite effect. When interviewers attacked Cara Delevingne, the supermodel turned actress has never been one to suffer fools gladly. So when she appeared on a morning show to promote her film, Paper Towns, and encountered hosts who seemed more interested in judging her than interviewing her, the situation deteriorated quickly. Cara, who has always been known for her sarcastic sense of humor, gave responses that the hosts interpreted as her being difficult or uninterested. One host suggested she should go take a nap, maybe get a Red Bull. Another commented that for $5 million, she should be more excited. The condescension was thick, and Cara's responses became increasingly curt. After the interview ended and Cara left, the hosts continued to talk about her, criticizing her attitude and suggesting she wasn't professional enough. The incident sparked a massive debate about double standards, about how female celebrities are expected to be constantly enthusiastic and grateful, about how a bad day or a different sense of humor can be interpreted as being difficult. Cara later addressed the interview, explaining her perspective, but the damage to the show's reputation was done. Viewers had seen the condescension, and they sided with Cara. The permanent record of the digital age in the end. What do all these moments teach us? They remind us that celebrity is both a blessing and a curse. The cameras that document your triumphs also capture your failures. The platforms that spread your success also preserve your embarrassments. In the digital age, nothing is truly temporary. Every awkward moment, every savage comeback, every uncomfortable interaction lives on forever, ready to be discovered by new generations of viewers. These celebrities, whether they're dealing with awkward interviews, family drama, inappropriate behavior, or simple human mistakes, are all navigating the same impossible challenge: how to be human in an environment that demands perfection. Sometimes they succeed with grace and humor. Sometimes they fail spectacularly. But always, the cameras are watching. Always, the internet is recording. And always, these moments become part of their permanent legacy. The truth is, these awkward moments don't diminish these celebrities. If anything, they make them more relatable, more human, more real. They remind us that behind the wealth, the fame, and the carefully constructed images, there are actual people dealing with the same social awkwardness, the same embarrassing moments, and the same human emotions that we all experience. The only difference is that when they stumble, millions of people are watching. So the next time you see a celebrity having an awkward moment, remember, they're not immune to embarrassment. They're not protected from mistakes. They're simply people trying to navigate impossible situations while the whole world watches. And sometimes, just sometimes, those moments of genuine awkwardness are more valuable than any perfectly executed interview or flawlessly delivered speech. Because in those moments, we see the truth. We see the humanity. We see ourselves. Now it's your turn to join the conversation. If you've made it this far, hit that subscribe button and become part of our community.